any improvements, maintenance, and so forth were taken care of through our regular monthly assessments, part of which would go to ongoing maintenance. The rest of it, a lot of it came, we had a very healthy reserve, which is a requirement of our bylaws and our condominium declarations, and the state requires that homeowners associations have a reserve for replacements. We, at this point, have depleted our reserve. We'd like to know where that went, how it was spent, and how do we get that replaced? Because we really are, at this point, we're over the barrel because we don't have a significant reserve to do any of these things. 2011, at the end of 2011, we had another assessment of $950 a unit, which was some size, the roofs. I guess this was the roofs, wasn't it? 950?
950 was for 3 roofs.
Right, with that, and that came to $264,100. Now that was in 2011. Now we're at 2012, and we come up with $4,100 assessment each unit, which will be a total of $1 million. Which took my breath away when I figured that one. $1,139,800, and this we are supposed to pay, as stated briefly in that little notice. Half of it in September, is going to be billed in September, and half of it the next year. Now, we have a lot of questions before any of us feel as if we should be paying this. And we want to address those questions. We've had a lot of emails. We've had a lot of input from all of you people who have been upset about this or want to know what's happening, and we want to review those things now. But we have also, in addition to this, our monthly assessments add up to $798,192 a month, or annually, I'm sorry, annually. And this is supposed to take care of our normal things like office staff, landscaping, maintenance, water, sewer, trash removal, and we spend every nickel of it. We don't always have all these services, but we do spend all the money. So that's one of the questions that we would like to find out. In the financial statement at the end of 2010, our reserve amounted to, it was called advance available funds, it amounted to $330,520. That was the end of 2010. Now that money's not there anymore. It's gone. It's been spent, and we still are in dire need of improvements, replacements, and all of the other things that we have discussed. Now, we have several people who have asked, who have agreed to give us some input. One is Woody Lee. Where's Woody? There's Woody back here. He will, and I'd like to introduce him, and he can give you his credentials and give us some advice. But before we do that, if anybody needs a pen or some papers to take notes, please do. We've got some right back here, and we'll be glad to bring it to you. Everybody got an agenda of what we're going through, okay? And if you want something to write with or write on, we've got it. Anything at all that you had that comes to your mind that you are not clear about, because there has been no communication to speak of for the past couple of years with most of our board. And so now's our chance. we all want to know the answers to these questions. So
And
Woody,
if you can't hear, would you let us know,
please,
anybody that's presenting?
is everybody hearing my loud mouth?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good, so if you speak or if you have a question, please speak up good and loud because the acoustics here, as we all know, are horrible. And so is the lighting, so hopefully everybody can see and hear. If you can, raise your hand, tell us, and we'll cure that. Okay, Woody, are you ready? He has passed out some of his correspondence from the, on the board. So if you haven't had a chance to read it,
Is this mine?
you can do that now, or else you can take it home with you and study it, because it's very important and very timely if you are not familiar with all of our covenants and bylaws, which most of us aren't. So,
I was gonna say,
Woody, yes, please.
if people didn't get papers before, I'd be more than happy to hand them out. Before you leave, we have them here too. So please feel, when you
Anybody else want one of the handouts? Do I see a hand back
Here you
here?
go, I got some.
Okay, there's one right back here.
so any two papers I have.
On this meeting?
So I sort of want to cut to the chase with all these people. So you sort of, I'd like to
Okay.
cut to the chase.
What do you need?
Sounds crazy.
Just a quick question.
If we all put $10 in, we could hire a
As
professional.
owners, do
These
we
people are not
usually
professionals.
get
They're
a
just
copy
hiring
of the
them.
reserve study?
Sit just for me. I'm having, I can't do that.
My name is Woody Lee. I'm a 26-year owner here. I've never been on the board of directors. What I did do was I was vice president and manager of the appraisal division and construction division for a multi-billion-dollar bank. One of the functions I had was to receive, review, and approve or disapprove projects like this based on their performance and their financial security. I hate to tell you this, but this thing's in bad shape, and I'm sure that's why you're all here. I'm going to talk about why that happened. So we know why we're here, to talk about this mess. So you're wondering how we're going to straighten it out. That's going to be a hard step forward. Did everybody in this room get an assessment for $4,100?
Yeah.
Okay. Have any of you calculated the total?
Yes.
It's astounding.
Yes, I have.
$1,390,800. That's a big chunk of
It's more
cash.
than that.
And the board of directors is asking us to come up with that in either one or two payments. Now, this didn't get here by accident. It got here because a succession of boards did not understand the problem of having what we call deferred or rehabilitation reserve fund. In other words, the roof doesn't wear out in one day, it wears out in 20 years, but you don't wait until it wears out to fund the replacement. You start putting money in a reserve account. A lot of people don't understand that, but I'm going to try to explain that to you. Not a quick question, this is critical. Give me a show of hands. How many of you in here have read the declarations of the condominium ownership and the bylaws? If you have not, you better get familiar with them. Your rights are set forth in those two documents, as well as the rights of the board of directors. And they're somewhat complicated at times, but they're very precisely set forth. If you don't have the declarations, which describe this project and is unique to it, and you don't have the bylaws, which are critical to you to know what your rights are, you might be able to get a copy of them from the office. If you cannot, you can go down to the county clerk and recorder on the 33rd, I think, and they've been recorded down there, and they'll make you a copy of the document.
The bylaws are on the website. The declarations are not, but Barney has a copy of those. He can email them to you.
Okay. Okay, that's good. This is kind of interesting. I did a quick calculation. We're being asked to pay $4,100. If 25 years ago, a knowledgeable individual had set up a reserve account, which is supposed to offset all these things we're doing now. That would be a 300-month payment. In other words, you'd make 300 consecutive payments in your homeowners association. And that would have been for only $14 increase a month. Had this been done 25 years ago. That's the way it works. You project costs into the future, and then you backtrack and figure out how much you have to pay each month. The closer the due date for the repair, the higher that assessment would be, that additional amount. The further out in the distance, the less it will be. The roof repair, $950. Incidentally, as she suggested, we got 3 of them. They totaled $6,266. Not good. That's good. But the roof repair, when I came here in '86, that somebody done a projection of 300 months, which is 25 years, up until the date the roof repair was assessed on small, would have only paid $3 a month on my assessment, on my assessment review. Times 300 months is $900. Net cost to me would have been $50. That's why it's important to understand how these reserves work. Okay.
Are you calculating interest in that? Or is that just straight the dues into an account?
What?
Does that include interest on the reserve amount? Or?
Not necessarily, but these are essentially savings accounts. The question was if the interest, yeah, it would be, and they're supposed to be set up as insured protected accounts, used for the purpose of long-term maintenance accounting. But unfortunately, that's not what happens. Okay, I wrote a letter to all condo unit owners and explained to you my situation and why I'm doing this. I wrote a similar letter with a different viewpoint to the board of directors. And they're going to get that. And some of the copies, the 2 letters I wrote over here, they are explanatory and I tell you where to find in the bylaw justification for our argument for the directors and everybody else. I might tell you this. In my former function as a reviewer and approver of condo projects, had this project crossed my desk in its present state, I would have red flagged it and told the underwriters, don't touch it. It's a problem project that appears to be badly managed. And I should tell you also that VA FHA will do the same thing. I should also tell you that FHA recertified us most recently on May of last year, which meant they would make loans secure. They're no longer certified. And I talked to a friend of mine at FHA down there, and he told me that if we apply for recertification for FHA mortgage lending, that we will have to have them analyze our financial situation. You're probably not going to hit.
Does that not have to do with the owner to renter ratio?
Right. What?
Not necessarily our financial.
There's a gentleman back here, you know, but when you're.
Okay.
Yes.
Enough about bylaws. I highly recommend you become acquainted with these bylaws and the articles of incorporation. Very important stuff. They are your rights. I want to go through the quick letter I wrote to the condo owner. It is important to understand that the bylaws, which are governed by a state law, which held all homeowners associations with the county they express in every case a requirement for a reserve fund for periodic maintenance, repair, and replacement of the common elements.
Can you speak
Most of the stuff we're talking about now is common elements. Your own unit is your responsibility. Everything else is all of our responsibility together. The reserve funds that are set aside for that are a savings account. It should not be touched, as the government does Social Security, not for any other purpose. And it has to be done with care and attention and long-term projection. The people that do this in the board of directors have to understand they're talking about costs for an item that won't be replaced for 10, 15, 20 years. What's happened here is it hasn't really been done. I've been told by some former members of earlier boards that while they discussed the need for that and the need for adjusting homeowners' fees up on your dues, said no.